What up, guys? It's your boy LerdyWise back here again with another video. This time we're going to be doing a review for the Lilo and Stitch 2025 live action film. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. If you care to know when I upload a video, please hit that notification bell as well. And leave your boy that like, alright? Appreciate you. To give my, if you're just here for like, alright, what is your number out of 10? I think I give it about a good 7.5 out of 10. If you're here for that, appreciate you. 7.5. What did I like? Let's start with the dislikes of the film. Let's just start with the dislikes of the film. The dislikes is obviously it's a live action version of the film, so there's gonna be things that's gonna be cut. There's certain things they're not gonna be able to do because obviously the original film was an animated film. So obviously you can't do certain things on the scale in live action as you would like to. So that's always just a deduction because you just can't do what an animation does all the time. I felt like certain like iconic scenes in the original animated video, in the original animated film, were kind of rushed through during the live action. Like I felt like they did this sense of like, hey, you remember this scene? And then just kind of pushed it to the side and continued on type vibe. There was a few camera cuts that I didn't like, but this is the very nitpicky type stuff. Like when Lilo, like in like the first scene where we get introduced to Lilo or whatnot, she comes to do her dance performance and it's like an actual performance. It's not practiced like how it was in the animated film. Not to say that's a big deal, but, and I get it, I really, it's so much kind of thing. Like I'd have to watch that movie another good, like at least another good one time, but maybe like a good 2 times sort of way. The first time I can just watch it again just to watch it, see what I catch. But then the second time I'm taking notes. Like, huh, they messed up here. They messed up here. What I'm getting at is it felt like they could have. Oh, hold on, the camera cut. She got to the performance and the teacher or the performance leader or whatever handed her fit or whatever to get dressed for the thing, and she, she still had whatever her wetsuit on or whatever she had on, and then it just kind of clips to the next scene or something and she's in that dance fit. I'm like, and I know that's very nitpicky or whatever like that, whatever, but it's you can just tell that was shot in 2 different, which I mean a lot of movies are shot in 2 different. It was that, and then it was the other scene where they were trying to revive Stitch on the beach with the car thing with the jumper cables, and the jumper cables were on Stitch, and then he started to like wake up, and then they were just randomly just off of him. Like it's just weird camera cuts that I didn't care for. But at the same time, that's being very nitpicky. The other thing that I did not like is there was no Captain Gantu. There was no Captain Gantu. But like I said, that goes back to my first point. Like certain things you cannot do in a live action, which I know they could have made. I know they could have made a Gantu. Budget constraints, or y'all couldn't find the right actor for Gantu, or I don't know. I can understand that being a problem. Making Jumbo Jukiba the villain, I didn't like that. I didn't like that because he becomes like a cool character in the TV show, and I haven't really seen the other movies, but he becomes a cool character in the TV shows. Like it's just kind of I didn't like that. The restructuring of the story, I had seen somebody say something about they tried to make Nani and David like love interest a little bit more of a thing in the movie. I don't know if I really got that. I mean, I kind of get it, but I mean, they thing was kind of, well, was it in the animated? And the funny thing is, I watched the animated movie like the following day, and it's just, I don't know. You can definitely tell, which is crazy because the animated film is like an hour and a half long. Not even really like a full hour and a half because obviously credits, intros, and all this other stuff. So it's really like 115, 120. The new movie is like an hour 50. You know what I'm saying? Obviously cut out it's probably like 145, but damn near added like a full 20 extra minutes of footage. And I don't know, I feel like movies are making that step to like really try to make movies be longer instead of just that hour and a half format. But it's, I don't know, nitpicky stuff. But those are the things that I did not like. I'm trying to think other stuff. Yeah, I think that's about it. Some nitpicky stuff, you know what I mean? But nothing too crazy. Me personally, I thought the film was great. I thought it was great. I thought it wasn't a bad retelling, because that's what it is. You can't put the movie side by side and it'll match out perfectly, because once you get into that last third of the movie, they completely switched up the story. It's like the same concept, but they truly switched up that story. Things that I did like. I like the actors, actresses, and stuff like that. I thought it was y'all picked out a really great Lilo. Like she played that role on point, like phenomenal. Nani, I liked her as the actor, but people were saying I was saying this too that like the connections in the animated movie are a lot more deep than the connections in the live action because for one, Nani was the one that took Lilo to go get Stitch. I do like that they gave Nani a lot more backstory. We found out she's very smart. She could have been a marine biologist. She gave up going on a full ride scholarship to go to take care of her sister. We even get a little bit more kind of like detail on their parents passing. I don't think. See, this is why I gotta watch it again because it's like it'd be small stuff that you probably not paying attention to or kind of miss out on. But I don't think they really go into depth about their parents, but they really like acknowledge it. In the animated movie, I think the only thing that was really said about their parents being dead was Lilo saying that hey, their parents went out for a drive that night and it was raining. And then you're supposed to just click that in your head like, oh shit, they got into a car crash, just that and the third. But I felt like in the live action they actually said, oh well, our parents died. You know what I'm saying? Type. So it was a lot more abrupt with it. It like kind of hit you more in the face with it to let you know what was going on. I feel like, yeah, in the animated film, you could tell that Nani was trying to be a lot more there for her sister in comparison to the live action. But you still kind of get that vibes because Nani wanted to make her sister's performance. Cause like that whole they didn't even have a truck in the animated film, right? Yeah, they didn't have Grandpa's truck or whatever, Dad's truck or whatever in the animated film. So you could tell that Nani was actually trying to be there for her sister, but it was things getting in the way. Like she had to be an adult too, you know. What else? What else? What else? It's like so much, and there's just so much that I'm trying to remember because I watched this like two or three. I watched the live action like 2 or 3 days ago, so I'm like still trying to think of things, but at the same time, and then I watched the animated films, so I'm like trying to compare the two. But I had to watch them. I had to watch them both again, just to get more of an ideal. I can really take some more mental notes. I do like what they did with Jumba and Pleakley as far as like how they tried to blend them in the world, and this was a good way for them to save on money and effects and stuff like that because they obviously just let's get two actors, Jeff Galifianakis. I don't never know how to pronounce his last name, Galifianakis or whatever, and then the other guy I don't know his name, but the other guy, and they obviously used them as in place of instead of trying to dress up Pleakley and all that and stuff like that, which I can see in today's world, there's which is actually surprising because in today's world you would think they would allow a cross-dressing alien to be more on the forefront, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's a heavy topic. Damn, trying to keep this short, but there's so much, but I'm also still trying to remember it at the same time. What else did I like? Stitch looked really good. Animations throughout when he's like interacting with real people and stuff like that, it looks really good. There's no like real bad clipping or it just looks off or it like looks really good. I did like that they added the perspective of I'm assuming that lady was David's mom, the lady that actually took Lilo to go, you know. I did like that because it gave David a little bit more character. You tell that like all right, it was a little bit more caring coming from that side, and then even at the end, hey, Lilo can come live with us, so you can go off and go do your college thing, this, that, and the third. So it felt like it kind of gave David and his part in the story a little bit more. Cobra Bubbles, that probably should be a point in my dislike, but there's also a point in my like as well because watching the animated film, he was the social worker plus an ex-CIA agent who had some role in mosquitoes taking over the world or something like that, which is kind of funny because in the animated film, the Grand Council woman, I can't think of her name or whatever, but she like in the beginning of the movie, I could be wrong. In the beginning of the movie, it seemed like she didn't know what Earth was, right? But then when she was talking to Cobra, she was like, "Oh, I remember you back then. You had hair then, like so you were here before. So how you not know what Earth is if you were here before?" Type, you know what I mean? But again, nitpicky. Some continuation shit could be kind of fixed, but at the same time, it is what it is. But it's like I did not like that Cobra wasn't the social worker. You know what I mean? Again, like I said, they just kind of doing a retelling of the story. It's not going to be accurate to the animation. So, you know, I could see them switching it up. Like, but it is kind of like, all right, bro, if you some CIA alien protection agent, whatever it is like that, why not just go up to Lilo instead? I mean, you know what I'm saying? And get that figured out. Why you got to go undercover as a social worker agent? That kind of didn't make sense. But again, kids' movie is not really supposed to be that in depth or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? That kind of made Cobra's character feel you know what I'm saying? It was alright. It was alright in that aspect. I would have preferred for them to continue to make him the social worker. Y'all literally added like what 2, 3 whole new characters to kind of make your story go along. The new social worker, David's mom or aunt or whatever she's supposed to be, and I think that's it, right? It was just those 2 new characters to kind of help flow the story along. Again, nitpicky, whatever. You know, obviously, like I said, you're not gonna be able to do everything in the animated that you're gonna be able to do in the live action. So, what else? What else did I like? Like I said, I like that they gave Nani some story. I like that they did have those subtle hints from the old movie, like the scenes and stuff from the old movie. I did like that, but like I said, I felt like they kind of rushed through them. They was just like real quick shots or something like that, just to kind of like, hey, you remember that? You remember that scene? You know, so I did like that because it'd be the scenes go by, and be like, oh, I remember that scene. I remember that scene. So you know, that was cool. I like that there was like a little Easter egg of the other experiments. I think Jumbo was like he was finna transform Twitch. He was finna transform Stitch into 627. It showed Angel. And it showed like 2 other experiments as well before he clicked over to 627. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's a hint at them trying to introduce the other ones and maybe in future films and stuff like that. Like I said, I didn't like that they made Jumbo the villain. I didn't like that. What else? I like the pacing of it. It wasn't a bad pace to the film. Like I said, I have to watch it again. I have to watch it again just to like give a real in depth. But as far as like the things that I've said, those are like my likes, my dislikes. I guess at the end of the film, right, it was Cobra and Pleakley instead of Jumbo and Pleakley. You know, so I do not like that they made Jumbo a villain. I don't. If they do decide to make Lilo and Stitch 2, 3, whatever down the road, we'll see how that all plays out. I didn't like that. That's probably like my biggest gripe. That and then Captain Gantu missing. Like there was no Captain Gantu. Like that was trash. I was looking forward to seeing like who they was gonna put, how they was gonna do Gantu, how they was gonna pull him out, how they was gonna, that was probably the most disappointing thing about this. But other than that, I thought it was a fairly good film. Like a nice little 7.5 out of 10. I wish they could have stuck more to the source material. Like again, like I said, you gotta do what you gotta do when you're making a live action. I could understand that. So I'm not like mad at it, but it's just like, I wish y'all would, For the most part, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good movie. Definitely recommend if you are a Stitch fan. Most live actions tend to be trash, but this one was solid. Definitely recommend. Yeah. Man, shout out Lilo and Stitch 2025, man. Was waiting on that movie. I knew it was. I was like, we're gonna see. We're gonna see when it come out. We're gonna see. And it's not too bad. I like it. I fuck with it. If you fucks with my review, please leave a like. Do not leave a dislike. Please leave a comment down there somewhere for your boy. And please hit that subscribe button. And if you kind of don't want to upload a video, please hit the notification bell as well. And yeah, if you stayed for my entirety of the review, if you just stayed to see my score, thank you. Yeah, shout out to the new subscribers, the likers, the commenters, the Stitch lovers. You know what I'm saying? I got my little jersey on, you know what I mean? That's my boy. You see, you know what I'm saying? Y'all see the stuff back here, bro. That's my boy. I love me some Stitch. So I was very excited to see this film. I thought they did a really good job on it. It could have been better. There's always room for improvements. Even on perfect films. There's always room for improvements. You know what I'm saying? So shout out Disney. Y'all did it again, I guess. But, it is what it is, man. I appreciate it. But, yeah, I'm going to get out of here. Hope y'all enjoy. See y'all in the next video. I'm out of here. Love you guys. Deuces.